You're listening to Struggle and Strength, Moms Balancing It All with Nikki. Real talk, real life, real solutions for busy moms building big dreams. From motherhood to entrepreneurship and everything in between. This is your space for truth, transformation, and the reminder that you're never alone in the chaos. Whether you're chasing kids, chasing goals, or just trying to make it through the day, I've got you. So let's dive in. Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of Struggle and Strength, Moms Balancing It All with Nikki. Today, I'm going to talk about something that has been really heavy on my heart. It's the expectations we put on our kids. This is personal for me because growing up, I never felt like I was enough. My mom never told me she loved me, and I felt like her love was conditional. Like, if I didn't meet her expectations, I wouldn't be loved. I remember getting in the car with my friend, and my mom would be like, "You got a 92 on your test. Why didn't you get 100?" And it was like, there was no room in my life other than perfection. And I vowed that I would never repeat the pattern with my kids. But here's the truth. Even though I tell my kids, "I love you," more times in a day than I can count, I'm starting to see the patterns showing up again, and it's scaring me. My husband and I want so badly for our kids to succeed. We want them to be excellent athletes, do well in school, and grow into kind, respectful humans. But somewhere along the way, that desire for greatness has started to feel like pressure for them and for us. I mean, we spend so much time carting them around to practices, helping them with homework, teaching manners, showing them discipline, only to feel disappointed when the outcome doesn't look like what we hoped. It's like I spent, I don't even know, maybe a half hour showing my daughter how to make runs, check in, check out, call for the ball, play a forward position in soccer because recently that's what she's been playing. Her coach has been putting her as. She's not really a forward right now because I haven't really ever worked with her on that. She's more of like a playmaker in the defense. She's played defense and like midfield pretty much for the last 7 years of her life. And now she's playing forward, and I don't want her to go out there and look terrible to the coach. He's already sent us a message telling us that her intensity has dropped and that she has to fight for her starting position. She's 10 years old. And that pressure we're feeling. It's like, I feel like every game, every moment, if she has a bad touch or if she does something wrong, she's going to be pulled from the game. And to be quite honest, it's coming true because every single game, there's 9 people on the field and only 4 people are getting subbed. There's 12 people on the team and only 4 people are getting subbed. So the remainder of the 8 of them are playing the whole entire game. Now, my daughter is used to playing the majority of the game. And that's not because I was the coach. It was because she was amazing. She played on a boys' team and she hustled and she was aggressive and she knew exactly what she needed to do. All the parents, every team that we played against, they would come up to her and say, "You did an amazing job. You stood for yourself, stood up for yourself. You hung in there. You were aggressive. You're phenomenal." And now I feel like we've completely regressed in her growth and development. And I feel like every time that there's a game, we're yelling at her afterwards. And then it's like the guilt setting in that this is exactly the way I didn't want to end up. I don't want to put that pressure on my daughter or on my boys. Same thing with my boys. After every game, we're yelling at them. "Why didn't you do this? Why were you walking on the field? How come you didn't hustle?" Why does it matter so much to us? What if they're not the best? What if they don't get good grades? What if they just are who they are? Are we able to deal with that? And what does it actually come down to? Is it because we're afraid that people are going to be like, oh my gosh, your daughter, your sons, they're terrible? We're not really ones who care about other people's feelings. But I think the pressure is coming because we are spending so much money. I mean, for my daughter alone, it's over $5,000 just for her to play soccer this year. That's insane. And not to mention the time it's taking. I mean, she's playing in 2 leagues, my other son's playing in 2 leagues, and my youngest is playing in 1 league. We have 5 soccer games every weekend, and turns out they're mostly on Sundays now. We're gone from 8 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. in the evening. Every waking day of every week, we are carting them around to different places, their piano, their guitar, their drums, their soccer, their diving, their tennis. It's exhausting, and all for what? And when I really think about it, I realize this pressure, it doesn't come from them. It comes from us, from our fear of the unknown future. I always worry every single choice that we make for them. Is this going to ruin them when they're older? Is this going to affect their future? And we start thinking, if they don't do well now, what's that going to mean later? If they're not top in this in their sport, will they miss out on an opportunity? If they don't get good grades, will they fall behind? Are they going to end up homeless because they have no motivation? If they don't succeed, does that mean that we've failed as parents? That fear drives us harder. And suddenly, watching their games isn't joyful anymore. I told my daughter I didn't want to go to any of her games anymore because I just keep getting let down. I'm sure those words hurt. It hurt me saying them, but I don't know what else to do. They're not having fun because they know a lecture's waiting afterwards, and that breaks my heart. And we're not having fun because we're not seeing. It's like that they're this amazing player. Everybody always says they are such amazing kids. They're athletic, they're smart, they're kind-hearted. But then when it comes to the games, it's like they're not meeting expectations. Or if in class they take a pop quiz and they get a 60, it's like, what is going on here? You're a smart kid. It's almost like every single thing that they do, there's pressure to be the best or do the best. And if not, it's like, what's wrong with you? And I don't want to keep doing that. I just don't know what the answers are. One of my clients recently said that she lived in a camper with 2 kids, 2 dogs, her and her husband, 2 adults in a camper for I don't even know how I can't remember how long it was. And she just said, "You know what? We're just not gonna sweat it. Just if we're alive, then we're doing well." And I wish I could have that perspective. I'm trying to get there, but I struggle. I struggle because I want my kids to have the best opportunities. I want them to set their futures up for success. But what does that look like? I don't want it to be my success. And I feel like that's what my mom did to me. She wanted my success to be her success. And I didn't want her success. I wanted my success. And when things didn't go the way that she wanted them to, she was mad at me. But I was fine. It didn't matter to me. And maybe I need to think about that for my kids. If they're okay with how they played, if they're okay with their grades, then maybe it shouldn't matter to me either. It's hard to understand what makes us go from being a successful child to a successful adult. I don't want my kids living on the street, homeless. I don't want my kids getting into drugs, getting addicted to things. I don't want my kids to have a future that isn't prosperous. I want them to do every parent wants their child to do better than themselves. I don't want them to have the struggles that I went through. I still, to this day, never feel like I'm enough. And I don't want them to have that feeling. But I also felt like I wasn't successful until recently. And I don't want them to have that feeling either. For each person, success looks so different. And maybe there's people out there that aren't doing very well. Maybe they're homeless, maybe they're into drugs, that maybe they're into whatever, they're addicts, I have no idea. Maybe they're feeling like they're successful. I don't know. All I know is that my success in life didn't come until I was 43 years old, to the point where I actually felt good about myself. I've had so much self-doubt, but I have a doctorate in pharmacy. I have my MBA. I played soccer in college. I went to Purdue University. I got married and I have 3 beautiful children and we live in a nice area. I have a good job. Like all these great things happened to me, and yet I still didn't feel successful. Because compared to my brothers, I felt like the black sheep. I felt like I wasn't making enough money. I didn't have a good enough title. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't athletic enough. I couldn't compete. And in my mom's mind, I'll never be good enough. And that weighs so heavy on my heart, to the point where I'm probably driving the joy out of my kids because I want them to feel those things long before I did. It's like, how do you create motivation in somebody? I was talking to my daughter last night. I went up to her room after everybody went to bed and I started reading her stories of the Bible. Like God created earth and human beings and the fruitful plants and vegetation that we eat in 7 days. And I asked her, I we went out there, I worked with you, I showed you what I wanted you to do, and then you went out to the game and you didn't do any of it. How come? And she said, I don't know. I don't have an answer. And so I asked her, do you feel the pressure out on the field that we're wanting this greatness from you? She says, sort of. And then I asked, "Well, do you feel like you're doing a great job?" And she said, "Not really, no." So I asked her, "Well, why not?" She said she didn't really know what the coach wanted from her. So I said, "Yes, but we worked on these things, and this is what I wanted from you. How come you didn't do them?" I said, how are you gonna motivate yourself to do better?" And I told her, "I can't do that for you. The motivation comes from within." But it's like, I've seen recently I saw this post on Facebook where this mom was like, "Can somebody please take my 21-year-old, give him a place to live, and teach him how to be responsible and have motivation," because she's like, "I'm at my wit's end. I don't know how to do it," because he won't listen to her. And I think I fear the same thing. Like, I have all this motivation. I'm so self-motivated to be successful, to do the best I can in everything that I do. And how do you instill that in someone? How do we instill greatness in our kids without creating the pressure that suffocates them? And so this morning I woke up trying to think, how can I make this different? I don't want to continue this. My kids are only 10, almost 9 and 7. They don't they need to have fun. They need to try things out. And so I think the answer starts with shifting our definition of success. Maybe it's not about being the best. Maybe it's about showing up, giving effort, and learning resilience. I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll have them pick one goal for the day. For each game that you go to, or for each day that you do, pick one goal. Just like with me, I have so much on my plate: client work, full time work, kids, everything. It's like, what I feel like I have a million things going on, and I maybe get 5 things done during the day. And instead of focusing on the negative that I didn't get everything done, focus on the positive. But I did get 5 things done. And so I think that's where I need to shift my mentality, is that have them pick one goal for the day. And if they accomplish it, that's it. They succeeded. Because it's about raising kids who know that they're loved. Win or lose, a grade of a 90 versus the grade of a 60, first place or last, I'm going to love them anyways. But right now, I'm not really showing them that, because what they're going to remember isn't just the trophies or the grades. They're going to remember how we made them feel, because that has stuck with me for my whole entire life. I'm not good enough. Everything that I did, I feared telling my mother because I didn't want her yelling at me. I didn't want to fall short of her expectations. I want them to remember that they are loved even when they didn't perform very well. I don't want them feeling like they're only loved when they perform, or they're only loved because they get good grades. That's how I felt, and it was the worst. I still feel that way. If my mom doesn't agree with what I say or what I do, she gets mad at me. And I feel like, great. Will I even see her again? I don't know. And I know this is hard. This is something that I'm actively working on to try and choose encouragement over criticism, but it is so hard. It's like the hardest thing. I need to just start cheering effort and not just results, celebrating progress, not perfection. I don't want them to be perfect, but I want them to play to their highest ability. I want them to perform in school to their highest ability, to what I know they can do. It's like you have a baby and they walk for the very first time, and then the next time they crawl. It's like, "But you just walked. Why are you crawling now?" And is it bad? No. But at the same time, we want them to do those milestones, to succeed, to grow and develop and move on to the next level. And it's like when that doesn't happen, you're thinking, "What's wrong with them?" Because clearly something has to be wrong. Otherwise, they would be, top notch every single time. But I think those expectations are way too high. We are not perfect. Human beings are not perfect. We're set on this earth to do good. And right now, I'm not doing very good. I see evil coming out, and I don't like it. I need to keep reminding myself that their story isn't mine to control. And I need to just let things go. Of course, I'm going to guide them, set standards, boundaries, but I can't let the fear of the future steal the joy of the present. So, Mama, if you've ever felt that tug of war inside, wanting your kids to succeed, but worrying that you're pushing them too hard, or that the message just isn't getting through and you don't know why, you're not alone. We're all trying to figure out how to raise strong, kind, capable human beings without crushing their spirit under the weight of expectations. And maybe it starts with reminding ourselves every single day that our kids don't need us to be perfect parents. They just need us to love them unconditionally. And this actually brings a memory. This summer, we went to celebrate my dad's 80th birthday, and I was talking to my nephew and his parents. They're worried. He's supposed to go off to college next year, and he can barely finish his assignments on his own. And so I sat down, I had a heart to heart with him. I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I stayed up all night one time trying to finish all of my assignments, getting all of my work done, and I missed one thing. And my dad yelled at me like I didn't do anything." He said, "So what's the point? It doesn't matter if I do everything or if I do nothing. I'm still going to get yelled at." And then he said, "And they have these expectations of who they want me to be as a kid. And I'm not that way. They want me to be this social butterfly, and I don't want to be." And it made me realize we have these expectations. It's not just me, it's every parent out there. But we need to sit down and talk to our kids and let them know we love them no matter what. Be who you are. And that's so hard. That is the hardest thing as a parent because we always want the best for our kids. And we feel like we know the way to we know the guide, we know the route. Follow this yellow brick road and you'll get to that pathway. It's not as easy as it sounds. This day and age, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine being a kid. There's so much influence everywhere you turn on social media. It's so hard for me. I only do social media for my business because I don't want to be involved in the personal aspects of social media. I only have it on my computer. I don't have it on my phone. But it's so hard when I go in there to do a post and I see all these posts and I start scrolling and then I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, stop. Don't look at all this junk." And there's so many people out there who look like they lead perfect lives. I was friends with some people on there that made me feel insufficient every single time I looked at their posts because it looked like they had the perfect Meet the Robinsons family. And it made me have this stress, like I wasn't doing enough, my kids weren't good enough, I wasn't good enough. That fear, that feeling again, because I'm trying to compare my lives to theirs. Why do they have this expensive $1,000,000 home and my home is gorgeous and it's great and wonderful. I have a great life, like I said, but it didn't measure up to theirs. So I must be failing. Their kids are gorgeous. They're doing all these elf on the shelf things. Like why I'm not doing any of that. Am I failing as a parent? It made me feel like it, but I was comparing and I'm not them and my kids aren't theirs and my life isn't theirs. The worst thing we can do is start comparing because then it brings in fear and insufficiency in our lives. And that's where evil comes in. And we start acting like people we've never wanted to be before. I'm comparing my daughter to the other kids on the field. And then I'm thinking in my mind, she looks terrible. She's been playing soccer for 7 years, and this is what we get. She looks like she hasn't played a day in her life. And that I don't want to feel anymore because she is an amazing player and she is an amazing person and she has the kindest heart. And I shouldn't be treating her this way. I don't want my kids not wanting to play sports because we're going to yell at them after every event that they weren't good enough, that they didn't do enough, that they weren't hustling enough. We're all trying to figure out how to be better parents, how to motivate our kids, how to get them to greatness. So if this felt like hit home to you, something that you're struggling with, or other people that are struggling with, send them the episode, subscribe, let me know. I'm here for you just as much as I need you here for me. I need to be reminded. My client on Friday told me, you know what? You're going to screw up your kids' lives no matter what. so don't sweat it because at some point in their lives, they're not going to like you and you may not like them. You're always going to love them, but there's always going to be things that they don't do right that they're going to tell you screwed up their life for the rest of their lives. But you have to just be there. They're your kids. You got to just love them unconditionally and show them that you're there for them. Whew, getting a little emotional again. All right. I want to thank you so much for listening to me today. Let's start reminding ourselves every single day that our kids don't need us to harp on them. They don't need us to control them. They just need us to love them. And if all that we do is love our kids, then our jobs are complete. Keep them safe and love them. That's all we can do. And celebrate with them and cry with them. Be there for them. Until next time, keep showing up, keep loving big, and remember, you're doing better than you think. Being a mom is not an easy job. If you're a mom trying to start a business and don't know where to begin, I've got you. Just head over to creationsbynlw.com and book a strategy call with me. Let's map out your next steps together. Until next time, keep showing up, keep dreaming big, and remember, you're doing better than you think.